Everyone, welcome to my channel. I've been wanting to do this for a while. I guess I just needed the firelighter to get me started. A couple of days ago, I woke up, opened up Twitter, and this was the article I was met with. And if you are in any way on any social channel, you should know by now that South Africa is going through a bit of a leadership crisis. So while our ANC rapes my country of every single piece of property and money and all the rest, I think there's a lot of us starting to open up and expose what's happening. So it won't always be South African focused, but this particular one I want to run through, just because even at the smallest level, such as the SABC, the the pure lack of accountability is clear. Just in the SABC alone, the lack of applying policies and proper procedures. And then if you look at the amount of government institutions, you could start to see how money goes missing. And look, I'm going to give SABC some credit. Year on year from 2020, we'll go through some of those stats. Year on year, they have improved. So profit and, loss, they haven't made a profit in over 5 years. I think the last time they did was 2014. But year on year since 2020, they have been reducing that number. So credit to them. But your plan to restore its image. So I'm going to run through a little bit of a story just to give you context as to why I decided to make this video. And then I'm going to quickly run through 1 or 2 points on the annual reports from 2020 to 2024. And it is high-level points. I am not a finance expert. I am a communication specialist. But I'm hoping that this video indicates that even without business expertise, I've been in business for 18, 20 years, so I understand how corporate works, I understand budgets, teams, etc. But I'm not in any position to lead an organization. I write articles and blogs. So, but I think the point I'm trying to make with all of this is that I am trying to indicate, excuse me, that even with my lack of knowledge, you can see a clear issue in just one of the many government institutions. And I'll show you that towards the end, because there are multitudes of them. And if you compound this issue across the multitude of organizations, departments, etc., you start to see, or you start to, I guess, feel even more horrified at just how much money is potentially leaving this country that should be going to the people. And then no wonder we're in the situation we are. But my concern is that instead of fighting the perpetrator of this, we're fighting amongst ourselves. And that's exactly what they want, because that's the psyop. And I'll have a link in the video just to explain what a psyop is, but high level, yous all go fight over there while we go and do our shit over here. And when I open up X, I'm horrified. I'm horrified. I don't want to leave my country. I love my country. I am Afrikaans, and proudly so. And a friend mentioned, oh yeah, European, wouldn't it be nice if South Africa was run like European countries? And I said no, because then it would be Europe. What makes South Africa the place it is, apart from the beauty of our nature and our weather and all the rest, is the people. We are, apart from the infighting we're having now, and that's a small portion that's screaming really loudly. It's not in any way representing the majority of us who actually just want to get on and live our lives and see this country be the beautiful success it could have been over these last 30 years. That's all we want. Anyway, I think I've already forgotten the point I was trying to make, but it'll come up. Let's get started quickly and just take you through this article, which is one I saw a couple of days ago. I'll give you a bit of background on it, take you through two more recent or two previous articles, also on the SABC, also from my broadband. I'm not preferential on the article. I'm just like, the truth is the truth. And then we'll quickly run through the annual reports. Okay, so this was the 9th of February, the most recent article I've come across, but I've kind of stayed offline just because it's so negative at the moment about my beautiful country. But let's quickly look at what I'm trying to highlight here. They have new leadership, of course they do, and as all new leaders want to do, revive its brand image and restore trust amongst its audiences. Oh, sorry, I'm so bad with this mouse. Anyway, so that's what it wants to do, which is great. Happy with that. Tender application, I checked on the 11th, the 10th. It was there. I don't know if there's been any updates. If they have, I'll put the link below. But yeah, there's been no price that's been given for this. And here's some of the stuff that they say. Okay, so let's quickly take a look at the most recent article. And I'm just going to highlight one or two things. So firstly, they have new leadership. And there's always a trend, restore our image and the trust amongst its audiences. There's a tender that's been put out on their website. The last time I looked at it was on the 10th, so there may have been updates, but no budget's been given for this project. They actually say here, over the past 5 to 8 years, the SABC has suffered chronic governance failures, resulting in the collapse of the internal control environment. And you'll see some of this come through when we run through the audit reports. Dysfunctional organization, exposure to constant negative publicity. I feel like that's self-inflicted. Stakeholders and clients losing confidence. The tangible costs reflecting from these failures were the losses suffered and instability in leadership positions. I feel like there's a grammar mistake there, but never mind. Yeah, no mention of the budget. So what I'm going to take you through after this is that in 2020, COVID, they hired PR Works for the tune of 2.3 million rand. At the same time, or at that time, they were planning retrenchments, which we'll see in, I think, some of the audit reports again. And their rationale was that their current internal team lacked the necessary skills. So what's funny about all of that, and this is what really got my goat, and I was like, I'm actually going to start making videos. With all of that in mind, so in 2020, there was already a 2.3 million PR campaign. And now they're talking about another campaign, bearing in mind they haven't made profit since 2014, 2015. Their building, it's a 28-story radio park in Johannesburg. I've driven past it years ago. The lifts have last been functional since 20. Actually, I'm just going to read the whole thing to you. The state's broadcasters' 28-story radio park office block is falling apart with lifts that are beyond repair, forcing staff and freelancers to climb the stairs daily. In addition to the broken lifts, which last functioned in 2018, staff have complained about the outdated toilet facilities and poorly lit stairs in the dilapidated building. Okay. So while there are escalators in the building, staff say they are perpetually unavailable and cordoned off. In all of their reports, they refer to safety, health and safety, occupational safety. You know what I'm trying to say. So, as a result, some of the biggest radio stations cannot invite guests for interviews, and those on lower floors need to warn interviewees about traveling upstairs. I'm so proud of my government. So that includes RCS on the first floor, Channel Africa on the second floor, and SAFM. It gets worse, guys. One worker said that lifts to the 14th floor did not work, and only express lifts that served the 15th to 27th floor, where management and top executives are housed, worked. They added that ceiling panels were falling out, and broadcasting had become a challenge because of old infrastructure, creating a sense of no leadership. If I'm not mistaken, I'll check, it's in the 2024 report. Actually, we will, because I want to read the introduction the new group CEO gives. Her history is communication and brand management. I stand corrected. We'll take a look. Okay. Anyway, so yeah, they understand the importance of restoring its image, but they say the timing is suspicious. You know what? I don't want to go down that rabbit hole. It's taken me forever just to prepare all of this. Like I can't. Anyway, yeah. Chief Operating Officer 2011 to 2017 was frequently in the media because of poor management. There's already state capture. You'll remember New Age Media, which was Gupta captured. Yes. So I read this and I was like, you know, what new fresh hell do I wake up to every single day? So yeah, anyway, and there's already an investigation into the partnership with TNA breakfast briefings. New Age Media. Yeah, anyway, yes, and that was done in 2024. Okay, so 2024, they get put under review, and now they have new leadership. It's funny because now does the leadership who had made those decisions, are they not accountable anymore because they're not in the business? Yeah, anyway, if a lawyer ever watches this, I'd love your opinion. Anyway, let's move to the quickly to the 2022 article, 2020, sorry, article, referring to the 2.3 million spent on public relations agency PR works. So again, new contract to try and repair the broadcaster's image as it duplicates uh, mm, SABC Communications boss, Boo existing internal team that doesn't have all the skills and resources. Oh, that's right, yes. This particular article, they went out and looked for a PR agency. They had an internal corporate communications team, but said that the team doesn't have all the needed skills and resources. So please don't upskill them. I mean, that would be a tragedy. You must just out. outsource the skill and let your little team be the little team that they are. So kudos for you. Contract was signed in July. So we were already in COVID. I move on. Okay, so that was the 2.3 million during COVID. So already cash strapped, no, let's spend 2.3 million. The funny thing is that the SABC has a corporate communications team, as I mentioned, and the leader her appointment was December 2019. She got paid 767 million rand according to the SABC's 2019-2020 financial report. So, fantastic. At the same time, the SABC had plans, and they did, and I'll show you the consequences of this. An entire group, so they want to retrench an entire group of programming publicists at its SABC 1, 2, 3 TV channels. These are the guys who are responsible for issuing schedules, publicity photography, and programming updates to the country's press and to communicate with the media. So there was a mention here, it's not clear how the SABC plans to liaise with media about its TV shows without any publicists who all received retrenchment letters last month. Yeah, it's a TV with tennis said, SABC no longer sees this crucial job as important. So, yeah, so that is what happened in 2020. Let's go back to 2025. Yeah. 27th of January, fix the SABC before it dies. This is somebody who is talking about the collapse. If it were to collapse, it would be disastrous for TV in the country. The majority of our people, South Africans, receive news and updates and all the rest from SABC. Without it, they have nothing, considering our government will not give Starlink, Elon Musk access without taking 30% control. The majority of our population, I think it's 84 million, won't have access to news and updates. Pereira, I think that's the guy from TV with Tinus Ferreira. He says, every year, like this year again, I'm scared thinking, is this the year that the SABC is finally going to implode? So, Tinus, I guess I can tell you that there was wasteful expenditure and the profit to loss is getting better. I have to say, there's still massive expenditure that's unaccounted for, such bad governance in terms of, health and safety, but we will show that. But yes, we're getting better. I think what's important to note here is that at the end of 2020, they got a 3.2 billion rand bailout from the government. We're in 2025 now. The government is on record saying that it's not giving more bailouts for parastatals, even though I've heard rumors of them presenting a bailout for Transnet. I'll look into that. And that includes SABC, which sits with it's a 1.2 or 1.12 billion rand bill just for Centec. On top of that, numerous other millions that they have to pay to other creditors. So that's where they're at the moment. Um, let's see if there's anything else we can see here. So South Africa's public broadcaster has been loss-making since 2014, 2015. That's 10 years. In its latest annual report, SABC recorded a loss, what's it, before interest and tax of 192 million. Improvement over the 827 million the year prior. Like I said, progress. Anyway, um, let's see here. Yeah, here, 1.12. Okay. Let's quickly move over to the next article, also this year, the 5th of February. Title reads TV license crackdown mystery in South Africa. So this one's good. I didn't actually go into the detail in terms of what the outstanding bill is on TV licenses. But it's in the annual reports in terms of the value of those outstanding TV licenses, and then what it is for what we'll look into here, because the government, as always, is liable for much of its own parastatal debts. As we know, Joburg or government institutions don't pay Joburg Water. They don't pay Eskom or City Power. I mean, in the recent load shedding crisis that was brought to light. And according to this article, they also don't pay their TV licenses. So, I mean, ask me why it's an 84% failure rate in terms of collecting licenses. 84% of South Africa has told SABC to China. China time, you can't even do it. Why should we? And that's just going to land up in absolute pandemonium and chaos. So let's quickly, October 2024, the SABC revealed that government departments have unpaid TV licenses bills amounting to nearly 35 million. So Solly and Mr. President, urged implicated departments to settle their debt. So again, no accountability, no consequence. I'm urging you, please. It's not good enough. If this was corporate, if this was a profit-making stakeholder private company, heads would roll for 35 million. The government owns or has licenses, the fact that they even have the licenses is a bloody miracle. Anyway, relates to licenses for 2,490 sets. The debt reduced, word, you see, they're getting better, man. Let's continue to applaud inefficiency regardless of, a small win's a small win, guys. Anyway, I'm getting distracted. Reveals the government department in 2023, it was a 56 million rand bill. Anyway, so always nice to know that stuff's getting done. Yes, those statistics, 86%, even worse. Avoidance rate surged in recent years. Access to internet, guys, mobile streaming. I wonder if you could do a data collation between the launch of Netflix and DSTV streaming apps. They launched that specific low-cost streaming option on cell phones, and I think that happened during COVID. And then, I mean, just look at this, 80%. Anyway, loving life in South Africa. Billed 5 billion in TV licenses, 2023, 2024. Managed to collect 726 million. loss of roughly 4.3 billion in revenue. Anyway, that's just in 1 year. Let me not get distracted. Okay, so if you're still with me, and I appreciate that because it's my first video, so I guess now's a good time to ask you to like and subscribe. As you know, I'm white and I live in South Africa, and that means I'm unemployed. So my highly critical opinion of how the whole of the world's leaders are running the world and the countries. And so, but you know what? You have to start at home. So here I am. I'm starting with South Africa. Like and subscribe to my video, please. I'm also a blogger. I'm a mental health advocate. So I'm really trying to get myself off my feet. Yeah, and I guess worth saying, I haven't yet filled out the US refugee request for information. I am passionately South African. Anyway, like I say, I'm getting distracted. Let's quickly run through these audit reports. I've made notes because these things are freaking like 100 pages. And oh, they are professional wafflers, guys. Like I said, I'm a communication specialist. I've been in communication for 18 years. And yeah, I can say that more often than not, I don't know what they're saying. I'll show you. I tried to retype just a paragraph. I managed one, and it sounds just so much more better. Like, yeah. And the other one, I don't know. I'm going to read it for you, but let's get to those audit reports first. Okay, so like I said, 2020 audit report. We're going to jump to page 40 for this. Oh, now I can't see my. Hold on a moment, please. I need to move this little window out the way. There we go. Let's go to page 40. Comment. It's just this first paragraph I quickly want to highlight. SABC finalized turnaround plan at the end of the financial period, so at the end of 2020, led to SABC receiving the financial frank. I've never read that word. Of the 3.2 billion recapitalization funding from the National Treasury. This poor National Treasury, they must feel like the taxpayers in this country. Anyway, page 41. Yeah, I guess, look, I don't know what all of this means. Like I said, my financial acumen is limited, but I feel like I know enough to know enough. The income ratio, 110%, remains unsatisfactory. The way my brain breaks that down means that for every 100 rand you spend, you make 10 rand profit. So again, any financially savvy people watching this video, please break that down for me in the comments. ChatGPT is bored of doing my math. I really suck at math. Anyway, cost containment initiatives achieved 75%, so that's great. Yes, so I'm going to leave it at that. I don't think there's, let's not, if we get into the detail, I'm going to be here forever. So page 100, I do, however, think that looking at the detail in 5-year gaps at least shows a story. And considering that I think it was 50 billion, 52 billion that went missing during COVID, I mean, yeah, anyway, you guys are raping my beautiful country and I'm tired now. So here we are. I'm interested, health and safety. So just let's go back to that article. Remember I said ceilings falling apart, lifts not working, employees have brought up issues about health and safety. And here in the 2020 report, committed to ensure that its employees work in a safe and healthy environment. This is not an option unless you're the government. But a minimum requirement only for private institutions who can afford to pay the fines, guys. But that's reading between the lines, I guess. The SABC is continuously striving to implement the highest safety measures for its employees and contractors and visitors in all its premises. Okay, so this is where it gets interesting. And this is what I noticed about the ANC. The terminology is exceptional. You know, if they could turn profit on just their terminology, and that's what AfriForum's trying to get across, is it's not what they're saying, it's how they're saying, like the disillusion. So they're saying it's not an option, it's a must. Health and safety. Sorry, I'm back on my rant now. This was evident in the efficient manner in which incidences were handled. Okay, so firstly, those are the incidences that were reported. So very easily can you perhaps not file a report, convince them to not file a report. I mean, traditionally, our government loves to pass money under the table. So, I mean, yeah, but it's not a good representation of what's actually happening. And it's also to say that your building falling apart is causing injuries, um, which it may not, you know. So it's only if there's an injury and it's only if it's reported, does that mean that you have that number of incidences. So, yeah, let's leave it at that. I'll leave all the links to these reports in the description. You are welcome to go through, give me feedback, because like I said, not financially. Anyway, it's abhorrent. Okay, we're done with 2020. As soon as I have shown you at the top there. So here, expenditure and losses through criminal conduct, irregular, fruitless, and wasteful expenditures. Um, the opening balance from the prior year, 2019, was 5.2 billion. Okay. Sure, there's restated less expenditure, blah, blah, blah. This is where it gets a bit lost. But you carried over a debt of 5.2. Um, so we have and then I think as far as I understand from this point, irregular expenditure awaiting condemnation subject to further investigation. So I guess those are the open files. Literally almost 5.4 billion. Anyway, this is where it gets interesting. So they have these little keys here. I'm sure you can see my mouse, and they explain it over here. It's somewhat confusing. I did have to do a bit of Google searching. Anyway, never mind. And funny, this disappears in the 2024 report. You don't get this breakdown in terms of categories. Um, so I just quickly want to focus on the big numbers here. Payments without contracts, 52 million. Because remember, this is now in the um, blah blahs, extra three zeros. We have 85 million that went to incorrect evaluation criteria applied to bids. Let me see if I made a note of that. No, no. But I'm sure we can. Oh, sorry. So let's quickly go to B. The bid evaluation and/or adjudication processes did not follow the pre-approved evaluation criteria as set out in the policy and the PPPFA. So I'm sure, so you are part of the very government that puts all of this in place, and you have 85 million rand unaccounted for in that category. There is 21 million rand, okay, up from the previous year's 14. Procurement, hold on, variation order in excess of 15%. So you get an order number for the value of 20,000, and costs just explode. So that's G. Variation orders in excess of 15% is prescribed by National Treasury. I'm happy to get feedback on that. Okay, Schedule All, by the way, very interesting. And I guess if I wanted to hide a bit of money, I would incorrect evaluation applied to bids. I can see opportunities there, and Schedule All. So Schedule All, goods and services relating to TVOB is procured through Schedule All system. Okay, I'll explain it now. These transactions are deemed irregular expenditure due to the impracticality of following SCM processes. Right? You have to be did I close my ChatGPT? Just open that up quickly. Again, need to move my window. The first one here. Okay. So let's just quickly copy this. So it's a procurement process for goods and services related to TV outside broadcasters without this. This is a ChatGPT answer. Okay, so procurement through Schedule All system. The organization uses specific procurement methods called Schedule All. It's to acquire goods and services for TV outside broadcasts, live events, news broadcasts on location, etc. These systems likely allow for quicker and more flexible procurement compared to standard government supply chain processes, which is what the SCM means. Okay, so the irregular, basic, as we all know, does not comply with established procurement rules, such as that which is set out by South Africa's Public Finance Management Act. So, the impracticality of the SCM process, the statement that I gave ChatGPT, which is that definition that you saw. So that the key identifier is what I gave ChatGPT. So it says then that the impracticality of the SCM process, the statement suggests that following the full process, open tenders or competitive bidding is impractical for TV outside broadcasting. This is likely because TV outside broadcasting requires decision-making and on-the-spot arrangements, hiring satellite links, camera crews, transportation. In summary, the broadcasting organization procures the goods and services in a Schedule All system instead of the required SCM process. Since the process does not fully comply with governmental processes, the related expenses are classified as irregular expenditure, even though they may be necessary for operational expenditure. Yeah, to the tune of 18 million. I mean, it's down from the prior year, which is 28 million. So blessed be. But yeah, I just, when there's a lack of control and a lack of systems and processes and procedures, is how corruption happens, because there's no paperwork. Yeah, anyway, let's quickly move on to 2021, as you see there, page 30. Sorry, I know this is a lot, hey? Okay, so page 30, I wanted to just quickly reference. Look, they've just had, remember, they spent 2.3 million. This is now 2022. No, this is 2021. Why? Oh, there, sorry, it's just the naming standards of the file. This is 2021. So the prior year, they spent 2.3 million rand on the PR works in July. So we're already in lockdown. At the end of December, they get their 3.2 billion bailout from the government. And now it's 2021. So new year, we're all very familiar with COVID. And this is part of their statement here. Embarked on a staff this will become important later. Embarked on a staff optimization process, key component of its turnaround plan. Target operating model and organizational structures received board approval during the first quarter of the year. The process to give them effect took longer than it should. Okay. So that is a point there that we'll just keep in mind. Page 143. Possible losses for the group. Okay. Again, just going to highlight the big numbers. 185 million it's a security tender awarded at a total cost of 185 or 519,425.61. When you're working in those numbers, the cents is important. December 15th, 2017, they were served with a notice of motion from a losing bidder requesting amongst others that the appointment of winning bidder be set aside and that the application be substituted as the bid winner. Should the applicant succeed in this litigation, the SABC will be liable for the full contract amount. If the applicant succeeds on the full amount, if the application succeeds, the winning bidder might also institute a claim for damages to the same value. So that's 185, half a billion. Anyway, that's fun. And that's been going on since 2017. We're already in 2021. This is getting a bit much. Is it? Don't forget to like. You know what? While I find my pages, make sure that you like and subscribe. Annual Report 2022. I want to look at goal 4 specifically. They speak of building a competent, dynamic workforce that is fit for purpose. So, following the restructure of the organization, they experienced a high number of vacancies. But you restructure the organization to streamline it, but now you have vacancies. explain this to me, and I've seen this happen in other institutions that do 189s. They'll end up having like mass amounts of open positions. It's the consequences of treating your people badly. So they embarked on a drive to fill these vacancies to ensure a functional workforce. So in the prior year, the same time that they did all of that, or the year before they did the restructuring, then they applied it, and now they've had to do the hiring. The point being is that in the 2021-2020 year, 671 vacancies were advertised. So that's almost 2 a day, every day, including Saturday and Sundays. Only 414 appointments were made. And that's strange because we have what's it, a 60% youth unemployment rate, 51% unemployment rate. Yeah, anyway, we have irregular, fruitless, and wasteful expenditure. The Auditor General, or whatever it is, which is at the end of all of these documents, constantly refers to controls, lack of controls, lack of controls. And since 2015, they are failing miserably on that particular point. So what's the one below it? Property plan and equipment. Okay. The point. They've got that wasteful expenditure. I do have to say their report looks better year on year, but okay, let's quickly look at that total waste of expenditure. Yes, so we have a carryover of 2.8 billion, which then eventually goes up to almost 2.9 billion. Am I right? Okay. The point is we've got like 2.9 billion rand unaccounted for. 43 billion, which is this incorrect evaluation criteria applied to bids. Down by 20 million from the prior years. I see it, they're making progress. And then here, schedule all. Again, these numbers go, I suppose they find the invoices and stuff. So they probably just do late auditing. Yeah, let me know in the description or the comments. But tenders above 30 million did not include subcontracting as a condition of tender, sitting at about 13 million. So that's always fun. So this is 1.5 billion. Yeah. Non-compliance with SCM regulations. So that actually that goes back to, okay, anyway, let's not go back and forth. The point is, they implemented a project to review the population of procurement transactions from April 2018 to March 2022. In this period, the vendor spend amounted to 14.4 billion, of which 6.9 billion was under investigation. At the time of reporting, transactions amounting to 6.96% has been assessed, and we have 277 million not been assessed. Oh, what is IE again? I just looked it up. Potential income expense, that's what it is. Potential income expense of 1.5 billion has been identified as a result of the project review. The above is indicative of the alleged irregular expenditure identified during the review. Anyway, that's where my tax dollars are going if you're interested. So 2023. So what I'd like to just highlight on this page is that the SABC reported a net loss of 1.13 billion, and cash reserves went down 60%. So here I did mention that there is a graph about the licenses. Here's a quick view of this. So now we're in 2023. We have sorry, my reporting shocking. Anyway, I suspect government receipts is the total that they've issued out to government. So the government in 2023 is 216 million. They've got 741 million, but their mandated costs is 1.7 billion. Or at least it's down from 1.8. Like I said, okay, but you see here the government receipts went up. Anyway, yeah, so it's interesting when you look at some of these numbers, and your thoughts, what are they not doing so well? So, yeah, it's not a money-making business, that's for sure. Here is a graph, just showing it's a lot of red. Yeah. Anyway, spend annual capex over a 3-year period. And again, I don't deal with capex. I'm not actually sure the capex part. But I don't know, hey, when your budget is 291 million, sorry, and you spend 878 million. So your previous budget, why the cut that section out. Okay, so irregular spend. See, now it's all broken up and there's no little codes and it makes it very difficult. 3.3 billion is under determination. A lot of money. Very difficult. You see, just let's make it more difficult to understand these documents. It's 128 pages, guys. It's long, but I'm almost done. If you still with me, I really appreciate it. And yeah, let's just quickly go over 2024. You get the drift here, down by 198 million losses for the year. 41 is the irregular waste. Just interesting. So irregular expenditure in 2024 decreased by 52%. So fantastic. But fruitless and wasteful expenditure, not irregular, wasteful, increased by 274% to 60 million rand. So major contributing factor, interest levied by Semtech. And in my research for all of this, Semtech has threatened to close or cut off SABC because of non-payment. And as is typical in the country, the minister steps in and promises a solution. So I'm not sure what's happened with that. Yes, but there's clearly a accountability issue. Before we switch off, is that this is a 2020 employee, and look at the 2020 employee count. They report on costs, etc. But I want you to look at the number of employees in this highlighted column. From a top management perspective, they have 8, senior management 27, middle management 374, junior management 489, supervisory levels 1,652. And this is where my brain was like, wow, rest of staff 429. So 2,900 employees, which means that you have almost 6 supervisory and up per 1 rest of staff. And my small amount of knowledge says that it should be the other way around. So you should, I mean, not your senior management, middle management, junior management. Actually, you know what? You need to switch around. Yes, that's what needs to happen. Your rest of staff should be 1,600. And it's probably just a salary, put you on a different band thing because you'd get paid more. Maybe it's also a title. I don't know. I'm just like, it just seems strange that we have 6 supervisor, manager people for every 1 rest of staff. Doesn't make sense. Feel free to comment on that. It's just a quick look. Like I said, they're doing great. 2020, 511 million, 530 million, 1.1 billion, 826 million, 192 million. So that's their annual loss. And again, irregular spend, it looks so much better. But that's a lot of money. And this is just the last 5 years. So I mean, what is your loss? And you haven't made a profit in the last 10 years. That's stated in the articles we reviewed. So what are you doing with our money? And no wonder we're not paying TV licenses. So yeah, it's getting better, but it is a huge waste of money. And like I said at the beginning of this video, this is just one institution, and this is just a 5-year look at what they've been doing with our money, including a 3.2 billion rand bailout from the government, including a 1.2 bill from Centec. So this is failing left, right, and center. And it's just one institution. I want to end off by just looking at this document quickly to give you a bit of perspective when I say SABC is just one institution. These are the other institutions, guys. So column M, and some of these are duplicated in column A. I'm not going to deny that. But you can see that that column goes on for a much longer time. So there's still some other government bodies sitting in column M. I'll do the cleanup. But South African Schedule 2, we have a list of other large South African public entities. Vodacom, hey? I didn't know that. Anyway. And then you have, okay, so then we've said that there are companies in column M that I need to filter out. And then we have public entities. Again, there's probably a lot that I need to get out. Eskom, Competition Tribunal, Centre for Public Services, Human Science Research Council, MUTEC, Legal Aid, Magalies Water, Institute for Humanities and Social Sciences. Ah, the Ombudsman. Oh, road traffic and the rails and pension funds. I'm so scared to look at that. Is that President's Fund? What is Justice and Protection Services? Interesting. So wish me well. There's going to be a lot of videos, but this is really what I'm trying to showcase. And I want to do videos on these organizations and just really break down what's happened in these organizations for the past 5 years. What have you all been up to? If you are interested in this, I'll also be doing some international content. Human trafficking and sex trafficking is a big thing for me. I'm horrified. So there'll be a bit of that. And I want to note, because this isn't a South African problem. If you're watching what Trump and Elon is busy doing with the government institutions in America, I I guarantee you this is happening in every government. I think what's so interesting with our government is like they just don't care. There is full all accountability when it comes to these guys. I think almost every single member in our parliament, is involved in some or other corruption trial. They've been impeached. They've been shown to be corrupt. They've been to court. Have they been to prison? Have they? Nothing. Absolutely no cost. Some of them go back to parliament. So, like I said, if you want to see more content, please like and subscribe. And then also, um, you know, nominate a company, guys. Like, I feel like I don't even know who to start with. I do, the Defense Department crossed my mind. So let me know what you think about that. And then comments, etc., down below. Appreciate it if you've made it this far with me. I'll see you in the next video. Thanks.